boys and girls. How you guys doing? Can you see my screen? I guess you can. Maybe you can hear me too. Anybody that can hear my voice and not see my screen, you better send a chatsy. Good to have you guys back. Hope you guys aren't too mad at me for posting that danger post, but maybe we'll overcome that. I want to do a little housekeeping before, similar to what I did last time, before we started the training. You know, Yahoo is tracking posts. You might want to consider getting a Gmail address and then running that through your the group, Max 7 group. A lot of you have done your scrolls, and I'm just really pleased that you took the time to do it. A bunch of you haven't, probably half of you haven't taken the time to do it. So it seems that, you know, I don't know why, but if you don't do that and you don't get the feel for how many winners and losers you take and do it yourself, I can preach to you all day long, but it's not going to help you own it until you do it and see it for yourself, that you can scroll as far back as you want to and start to the front, and you're going to have about 80 to 85% winners. But you've got to see it for yourself. Statistics lie, and statisticians are all liars. But if you do them yourself, then you'd only be lying to yourself, wouldn't you? Okay. The SRO settings we're going to change tonight. That's the first thing I'm going to do here on this chart. And then I'm going to switch charts. We're going to set the SRO settings to, write this down, the standard settings, which is what it comes up with when you load it. We're going to change that to 883. Whoops. 8, 8, 3. Now, this is what I call the AWACS, the Automatic Early Warning System, or EWACS, whatever it is. So there it is. And I'm going to show you a few things. The reason I use the 13, 13, and 8, because it does follow price a little better, because this is the 883 standard settings are a little busier than the other settings, and so, but it's used for a different purpose, because now, just to show you, you see this little spot right here in the middle of the chart? Let's draw a line there on that doji. You see, this is an early you get a pretty early warning about something that's going to go on. So let's move it over to the next one. Oh, I can't. What's wrong with my mousey tonight? There you go. See, you get a warning there. You see this M? It makes a lot more M's than W's, and that's a lot of part of what this lesson is going to be about. And you see that M? Well, I've got to fix that too. Why is that not set that way? Set it as not as array visualization, and we're going to set the parameters to white, and we're going to double the size of it. So there you go. Now you see that M? Okay, when you get an M like that, that's a form of divergence, although it's actually leaning the wrong way as far as being divergence to tell us that. But the mere fact that it's got the M there means there's divergence. Now, if you draw a line from that M right there, you're going to see that price goes down. This is an early warning that price is going to go down. Now, this crazy-looking W down here, it's a W, nevertheless. Crazy-looking W tells you that it's going to go up. You can't have any stronger signals than that for an early warning. Look at that. And we can go all the way through this chart. I'm not going to do it, but you see this. Well, let me get the W first. Let's do this. See this W right there? My line isn't really straight, but that's not the point. The point is it's a W, and when it says it's going up, it goes up. early warning. Then you got a M right there. Price comes down over that. Those M's and W's are really easy for us English speakers to see. Look at that, comes down. Now it doesn't always go very far, but after all, you're looking at a strong trend. So what are you looking for? You're looking for places to join in the club and make some more short trades. You see, this isn't a W, but that M. Now let's go over here and look at that one. This is almost an M. And it really, if you look at it, and this is stuff you got to look at. See how easy it is to spot that little crooked, cockeyed M? Sort of reminds me of the stuff that Google, when they want you to enter something, you got to check those things out. You see, look how that matches up there. If you find this low point here, down here, let's just mark it, and then we'll look at the W that's going to be down there, right there. See it, nice little W. Isn't that not pretty? And this M, there's two M's up here. There's an M here, right there, and there's an M over here. So this exercise, I sent you all this stuff out on divergence and M's and W's. And in the emails today, that's something for you to read and play with in your spare time when you're not doing homework. And this one just doesn't happen to make a W, but it's still down here pointed below the 20 or 25 as I've got it set at. So this is the early warning system is what it amounts to. And let's take it up here to let's go up to where the Mo is. There's a little channel here. And I drew that as a channel on purpose because if you weren't in the trade before, this is a perfect place to pick up a new Mo. Now you see right there coming through that, you got your upper part of your channel, which is where you would set your stop because you're not going to make an up trade here. So this would be your, you set your stop and set your entry price right there below that and then go on to bed. Depends on how long you sleep, of course. See, you had this big M down here in the indicator box. So if you'll take a look at where everything was with that, coming off of that M, right there coming off of this, right down there, and then you've got your W here. And look what happens. It goes up. So now the reason I'm showing you these W's is because even though we're trading downward, this is going to show us the various places where we might want to get out, there or there. You see that elongated W there? So it's another hammer right there to tell us in that bag of stuff right there that this may be a place to get out. It's got an outside bar right there. Or it's as close to an outside bar. It's probably about the same, but that still counts as an outside bar. And then here, this is an inside semi-doji. So that's a perfect place to escape all of this stuff. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight, M's and W's. We're going to review some of your homework. A lot of you guys still aren't paying attention. I said homework should have been in actually at midnight last night. Actually, I said 4 o'clock Friday. I'm sorry, I said 12 o'clock noon. No, I said 12 o'clock midnight Monday night, and I was still getting homework this morning. I did grade some of it, but I didn't have a lot of time, so some of it did not get graded. Sabio did some of the grading, and he grades them probably a little nicer than I would. He's not as mean as I am. I just hate people who do sloppy work. I don't hate the people, I just hate the work. Excuse me. Now see, you got a perfect Mo coming right down there off that mess here. This is already down at the bottom from the M there, which told you that any minute now we're going to have a change of direction. Now it may be only 2 or 3 or 4 bars, but it may be a big change like we got there. Then we got this little sideways movement. We got another W here. And look what happened. It went up for a pullback. Isn't that sweet? Look at that. Is that not beautiful? And you got all this mess in here, which doesn't mean a thing. There's another M right here. See that M? And it went down right there. So it's telling you that this is a little, here's your little, if you want to draw a trend line off of those two lines, or you want to draw it off of those lines, these things are just jump right out at you. And Mother Nature has set this up so that you get these beautiful signals. You don't have to rely on somebody else. You can do your own research, and I'm all in favor of that. I wouldn't know what I know because I don't believe anything anybody tells me anymore. If I didn't do the research, or after they tell me, then I'll go check it out. Of course, you see that nice little M right there coming off of that. You've got your short-term trend right there, plus you've got your signal down here. You got a W right there coming off of that. You see, I could do this all day long, but this is going to be your homework. You're going to find the M's and W's, and that's going to be it. Now look here. See that head fake there? But how did you know that it probably wasn't the real thing? Because you got this little signal right in there. When you see this and you drop your vertical line from wherever it goes up here, drop it right there. Look at that. See, that tells you your head fake. And then you've got your perfect Mo entry right there, right off the top of that. And if you wanted to do a ledge for the Mo to make sure that you were not getting in too early or whatever, there you are. And you would have had one up here, about around in there, that area, which didn't do anything, but this came off of that ledge right there. So, any questions about what an M and a W is? Anybody? Questions? I got another little paper on M's and W's I'm going to send you to. I couldn't find it this afternoon because I was just crashed. I had my computer guy here today working on some stuff for me. Okay. Now this will help you a lot. Now what we're going to do to this, we're going to add an indicator right here that will help you define the crosses so you can visually see a cross in addition to the M. I don't want you ever out there have to figure out anything for yourself. We'll do it all for you right here. You don't have to go to the internet and look for indicators. We got them. Change that to yellow. Set on 13. Actually, we're going to set it on 8. I have one set on 8, but this one. And we'll just put it right in there. Now, this is very similar, but just enough off that when the green crosses the gold here, there's your early warning system, and then when it crosses there, it's the full warning system. You got an M on it also. Actually, I think I'll put that back to the 13 for this exercise. The crosses are a little clearer. Yeah, see, there's your, it smoothed out that oboe oscillator. I found this on the internet a long time ago, and also found out that Wade has it in his stuff, but he got it out on the internet also. So see, when it does this, now you get stuff going along like this, this doesn't mean anything to you, does it? It's just going up and down. But see, you're telling each one of these little movements here is guided, or this is guided. The SRO is calling those shots for you, and you're not going to trade them, but you can see why that went down, because right there you've got it, and you can mark every point or every high point on the chart, and you're going to find that there's an SRO nearby in that direction. See that M right there? That's coming off of that little ledge right there. So we go up here and draw right there on the red, right at the top. Now you guys are going to have fun with your homework this week, because this is going to be exciting. Now we're going to add one other thing, a couple other things before it's over with. We're going to add a new indicator that I found out on the internet. I've had it for a while. I've just never played with it. And it's very similar to the dynamic trend index of Dean Malone and Synergy. But I like this one better, and I'll put it on the chart, and I'll explain to you why I like it better. And not that TDI is not good, but there's a difference here. Here it is right there. We'll just throw that little sucker out there. And the colors are all set up. Whoops. Okay. Now, it looks very similar to the TDI, but it is different, believe me. I need to set those as dots so that they don't clutter everything up. I guess you guys can hear my little doggy outside barking at me because he's cold out there. Now, the reason I like this better, you see the green line, it's not near as jerky as the one on the TDI, and just so, I'm going to put one on here just so you'll see what I'm talking about. See how jerky that green line is? Actually, those lines do the same thing, but this one is not near as jerky, and you get a better, more clear picture of what's going on. And the red line has been removed. Never had it on this. Whoever did this did a pretty good job. This goes to 68, and that goes to 60. So there's a difference here, and I'm going to show you what I mean. And any of you that's using TDI, I love the TDI. I use it all the time, but I'm using this now on those. But you see, look at this. This actually mimics price much better than any indicator I have ever seen. Look at that W there, but it got both pieces of it. This, when it was at the top, you're going to love this indicator. Look at that. Now, let's get up here to the up high part. I'm just going to draw a vertical line from the highest point on that chart. Now watch this. Comes right down right in the middle of it. You see this is going along over here. It's made a bunch of M's. It's outside of these bands, which Dean calls them the volatility bands. You call these anything you want, but actually they're just Bollinger Bands inside of this thing. I had it turned off for a while, but I figured, well, what the heck, that gives me another signal that this is going through there. Now look at this little dip right here. Right there in that little dip. So it tells you it's a signal. Now look at this bottom here. When price gets under that 60 and it gets over the 60, you're due for a change in direction. Look at that. Look at that. And if you didn't have anything else I'm going to teach you later in the course, you could trade off of this and be the best trader in the world if you wanted to sit at the computer. Because wait till I show you this on the 4-hour chart. Look at that 1, 2, 3 point right there. Comes right in. The 3 point happens to be exactly at the Mo. But look here, what you have down here. When you do that head fake right there, actually you had a double fake this time. You had a double fake. And it both peaks. But with this one, you had divergence. So you were noticed by Mother Nature that this was going to be the turning point right there with that divergence. Now, it doesn't always. It's not 100%. And don't quote me and don't tell anybody I said that. Divergence is about 75 to 85%. It almost always moves a little bit, but it doesn't always move a whole lot. So, would you look at this? Now, let's scoot on back over here. When it's down here, it's telling you that there's no action. Down here, in this yellow line is actually your price trend line, and this is telling you that there ain't anything going on when price gets down this or stays up above it for a long time. Now, you see this little peak here? It's not much. Not much at all. But what do you have to go with that peak? You're way up here over the 60, and you're way up here over the 75, and you've got a cross right there, which tells you it's going to go down a little bit. A little bit. I mean, you don't know how far it's going to go down, but you can bank on it going down. And this also makes some M's. Right there. So you're going to have your hands full now, because this is powerful. I'm turning you loose with an AK-47 with 2 boxes of ammunition. Now look at the peak. Let's just put a line right down there to that peak. And see where that is? You got that elongated M. Now you don't know when it's going to come down over there. But with this looking like this crossing down there, this is telling you that it's not quite ready for the bounce, but there you are, it's going to do it. Look at this bounce right there. Let's draw a little vertical line in that so you can see this is down below the 25, and this is just straight across. It's still part of it. So there's kind of a mixed signal, so you know that's probably not the end right there. You were asking me about how do you know if it's a pullback or what. Well, you always draw your trend line. And then down here, what did we find here? There's your highest point right there. So price is going up here just across the center line. You have this, which is not true divergence, but you had your W way back here. There, and this went up to high, and there's your high point right there. That's right at the peak of that W, this M here, which is above starts out above the 60 line. See, you got your M there. Go down a bit on here. So this is your cross there. You got a cross right there. Excuse me. And then you've got your cross here, and this tells you that it's going to go back up. And then there's your main cross. This is your signal that, hey, this thing is probably on its last leg for that high part right there. You see that? Now, these things are going to be kind of tricky in the beginning. In the beginning, you know, everything's difficult the first time you see it, but you're going to do enough of them on this homework here that you're going to be really familiar with Marys and Williams. It's real easy. You see that W right there? That's actually, it's better if it's below that red line, but it was just perfect there, wasn't it? It didn't really make any difference, but it told you a possible change in direction. There's the third you had 3 tips to that W. You had 2 W's down there side by side. And you had this cross right here. Whoops. Where did it go? Cross right there. So each one of these little highs and lows are telegraphed by your M's and W's. And what your homework is going to be, somebody write this down because I'm probably going to go over it 2 or 3 times, but you're going to go through a chart like you did, but you didn't scroll. The guys of you that didn't scroll are going to have to scroll because you're going to have to go back and find these M's and W's. They're going to be very important to your future. If you have a future in trading, these are going to be very important for you. And there's some of you out there, I've seen your homework and your posts and things like that shouldn't be trading because you don't, to me, you don't have the temperament for it or the willingness to study and do the work, because the work is how it happens. I cannot do that for you. I can scream and harp and holler and be mean and nice and all that stuff, but it's not going to do a damn bit of good unless you take a hold of that homework and own it. And I don't assign it just because I like to see people do homework. For Christ's sake, do you think I like to grade 200 charts in the last 3 days? You don't think that's any fun? I'm doing it because I want you guys to learn how to trade. I want you to have as much fun at trading as I do. Look at that W there. See that? And you can see the W's because you can tell if you got a high point on a chart, or even if you couldn't see the right-hand side of the screen, if you were right there, you can see that W coming right there. Or you can see the cross is what I meant to say, the cross. You can see that cross right there. Not that that's not a tradable thing, but it could have been. And in certain circumstances, it will be. Now look here, you got a perfect 1, 2, 3 top at a high or a swing high. So, and look, it falls right in place with the momentum line. Isn't that peculiar? But there's your 1, 2, 3s, everybody, and that happens to be an M, as a matter of fact. So you don't have You didn't have an M down there, but you had enough signal that there was your signal right there that this thing was was about over with. You don't know for sure how much, but when it bounced off of this and went back up there and didn't go above that resistance point there, support point, I mean, resistance, what I'm talking about, resistance point, and started on down, you knew that that was true. But look down here how long this thing has been above that 60 line. That's telling you that all of these things in here are simply pullbacks. That tells you once that line crosses that and stays up there for an elongated period of time, that's telling you until it actually, there's your first signal that it's going to quit because it didn't ever go down there. And then when it actually crossed it, that told you that that move, that high move was over. Right there. And it told you, it knocked you like the judge hitting the mallet at his podium, or lectern, whatever you want to call it. You see this low point here? Look at that. We're just looking at highs and lows is all. No big deal. We're not doing anything special. Look at that elongated WWWWWW right there. Price was just kind of sauntering along there. And so it went up to about right there, and it just stayed up there. And there's telling you the overall trend. So you don't have to worry about your little, your remo there. There's your remo and your remo, or your scale in, however you want to do them. So this shows you that once that line gets up there and you don't see any evidence that it's going to go down across that 60 line, you know you're in a pretty good trend. See, you got another peak here. Let's just draw a vertical line from that peak. Right on that doji. Look at that cross. You got a cross down here crossing the yellow price line. And then here, this, you got it going up here. And we're up, you're actually back here as far as the thing goes. So here's your semi-W, we'll call it. There's a semi-W. So there's your very beginning of the line. So your homework, you're going to put all this stuff on the chart, and your homework is going to begin right here. That's 1,440 bars. Actually, that goes back to January the 7th, so it's not going to go back very far. But see, this is an M right there. Look what it did. This is an M, although it didn't go very far. The difficult thing, the hardest thing you have to do, you can't tell how far it's going to go. But there are other signals that might tell you how far it's going to go, because when price made that W there, or started to take that, meeting the price resistance right there, you just kind of, they're all over the place. And what you got to do is learn to look for them. See, you even got an M here. You get a lot of M's. Now I want you to mark M's and W's on both indicators. You got a long W there. Look at that. You got a long W right here. Look at that. Right there told you that that little sucker was going to go up. Now, if you can read it any better than that, you need to go get Bill Polis's course. Spend $2,000 for it, or $3,500 for that other one that Roger sent me today. Roger, thank you for sending that to me. I didn't see where you sent it out to the group, but I wanted you to. Listen, this max is a bargain. Now let's go back here to the. You can't see this, so this will just be a regular old thingy, but right there, you got. Well, let's see. You got your. That's not really divergent, but here's your W right there that tells you it's going to go up from there, and you don't have any contrary indication that it's going to go back down, except that's as near as it comes. And you got another W right there. And look at that. Just drop a price or a vertical line right there. Now look at that. Comes off of that with almost a perfect Mo and a doji light bar right there. Mo entry. You can tell that these things are going to be moving up, or at least they're headed that way. And you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 possible scale ends. Then you have the railroad tracks like that. That's this exit sign. It also happens to be an inside bar. Well, not quite, but almost. It's close enough. But it's still railroad tracks, and that's an exit sign. If you miss there, you're going to get it again right there.
Hello, Jim.
Yes, sir.
People are wondering about your dog.
Excuse me, guys. He's okay. He's just spoiled rotten, like some of you students. I'll be right back. Oh, man. I told you were going to stay out there for a while. But you don't pay attention to me. Like my students. Whoa. All right. Well, with a name like Snowman, you can imagine what he looks like. He's all white with long white hair, a Bichon Frise with black eyes and black nose. Looks like a little snowman. And he's not curly haired like a poodle, though. So, anyway, I'm going to go out and bring my cat inside. It is dark out there. Okay. So now you women were worried about my little doggy, poor little doggy. Okay. Have you got that? You like it? If you like it, give me a attaboy. Okay, look here at the end now. Look what happens here. You're coming off of this long trend, and if you think that you couldn't have made a lot of money with that first, wherever you entered here would have been okay. Even if you'd have taken this fake stuff here, you'd have had to go through all of this crap. But the point is, you were never in danger if you put your stop behind the red balance line. You know you've got a good, strong trend here. But let's just drop a line here at the high point here. We're not quite crossed yet, are we? So we wait for that cross. We got this as bouncing off of the 60 down here, or the 0 line, I mean, crossing down from the 0 line. It's a pretty good sign. Then it tells you that this is probably going to end right there temporarily. It's going to bounce up. Now, do you think that might be a good place to take an MX right there where those two W's are? You think it might be? Somebody say yes. Are you there, Eusebio? John Kimmy. Okay, yes. Okay, that's enough. That's a vote of confidence. Okay, now, you see, you draw your little ledge right there, and you wait for that little hump to come down there. And gee whiz, it just makes you another, it's a mow, but it's really just a scale in, and look at that. And then look what here you've got here. You think that might be a good MX right there? You got a W down here. And see, we don't worry, we don't care what shape they're in. It's a W. A W is a W is a W. Now this is kind of there's a W right there, but it's actually going across that way too. So sometimes you get a couple of them in the deal. So and look what happens there. It goes right on back up and tells you. This simply tells you, being down this far, that is not going to go up and run you off into the ditch and take your money. As long as it's under there and doing that, and this thing's got this, you got a free ride to home. Free ride home is what you got right there. Look at that. You got a perfect link up into your scale in right there. See that? Oh, I bet you ladies like that. Look at that. You draw that. Whoops, you do draw this right here. And see, the reason for this exercise is how do you spot these little things? What's the clue? And so the clues are not going to look quite like that over here at the right, but they're going to look close to it. And see, every one of these little things is you've got a little tattletale down here telling you are moving right along with it that's giving you a W, that's giving you a signal when the next one might be. Look at that M coming right down there to that. Now this thing looks like it might possibly come across that 60 right there. So your time to be looking and looking for possibly an exit here. When that thing crosses above the 60, you want to maybe start looking. You don't know for sure, but look at all that stuff that's telling you this thing is in a state of confusion down here. And it didn't do any more than get to the Bollinger Band right there. But see, it didn't. Even if you'd exited right there, Mother Nature comes right back and gives you another shot because you did the right thing, and XXX right there. And then you come back here and you do this again, and look at these things down here, what they're telling you. That's not a W, but I promise you almost every big move on this thing is going to come from a W or an M, or maybe both. And look at this. You got all these scale ends here, all these little signals there, all of this stuff. And you got your little diamonds. You don't even really need, you don't really need the MACD in color anymore, do you? Because you got the little diamonds up there. Now these are set on 0. What I mean is, you go in here, time frame is 0, sound on 0, turned on. Alert bar close is 0, not 1. And that's what you want. Then you got 363 there. So there you are. But look how much further this goes after it supposedly ended with all of these scale ends and stuff. I bet this is a 5,000 pip drop. I just bet it's a 5,000 pip drop. Look at that. And then when it comes down here to exit time, this tells you that it's at the it's getting close to the very bottom. And then it starts up and crosses the thing again. So there you are. This was just a fake out here. Fake warning. Now look, when this is, let's find that peak right there. What do we got down here? We just got a peak there. We got a cross there. And we got a sideways movement there that tells old Jim to get out somewhere in here with all that, because this is, now it's going up. And look at this, you got this nice W there, it's up above the 60, so that tells you it's going to stay up there for a while. Look at all this. Still, we're not going to do counter trend trades yet. I'm not ready to teach you. I want you to do some homework this week with M's and W's. I want you to learn Mary Will, MW, Mary Will. I like that. Okay. There's your nice W, but see, it's still going down. It's still staying right, went right on back down in there. And there was your first warning with your cross right there. Even though it was 4 or 5 bars early, you still had it. Actually, you can see with that M, you can wait till the left side of the M, but you had an early cross that says, hey, I better start looking here and paying attention. And look what happens. There you go. Look at those scale ends. Okay. Is anybody bored? Okay. Now I'm going to add one more thing to the chart. It's not going to do anything for you this weekend, but we're not ready to start using it except for one thing, and this is called the non-lag moving average. Set on 21, displacement is 1, percent filter is 0.5. It's already got the color set and the width set, and we whip this on the chart. Now, what this does, boy, it bingled me. What this does is acts as a trend line without you drawing the trend line. You see, if you wanted to know for sure when this thing is going to do this, go sideways on you, Now, even though this is not as straight as a trend line, it's acting as your trend line because it follows price so closely. When price goes across that thing, that's telling you something. And then when it gets in here garbled, what do you get? This gives you more spaghetti or more reasons not to mess with anything until it stops. See? Look at that. Okay, let's go a little further back. And here, when it comes off, it's your early warning system that you're going to get a mow here, because there you go with an angle like that. Remember, I told you anything over 45 degrees, that would be about 45 degrees, so this is going to be less. But any angle like that, price is going to bounce back about 50% of it. That's just your old standard Fibonacci stuff. There's your peak, and there's your bottom, and there's your 38.2, and price hit 38.2 and 38.2, which told you something, that there's a resistance point there, a Fibonacci point. Then it goes up and walks all across the 50 before it ducks back under the non-lag moving average. So I just want you to get used to having this on the chart and watch what price does when it comes along here and helps you another place to exit your trades. And see, when it comes off here, it helps you verify that there was a mow there going. You got bing, bing, bing. You got 4 moving averages there. This tells you here that it's coming out through the 233 there. So it's just a guide for right now, because I'm going to teach you how to use it next week. If you do good on your homework and you don't send me 3 homeworks and try to tell me you only sent 2 or whatever you're doing, or send it late, I'm going to teach you some really good stuff next week. Well, this week, this is all new to you here. And we introduced 3 things. The obos, we changed the settings on the SRO indicator, and we added the Max Vinny. And I don't know who Vinny was, but evidently I sure love that guy so far. Because this is great. You see how this is telling you that this is a long-term trend when this walks all along down here, even though you get the W's for these little movements inside here. So, but look how that yellow line is following down here. It's telling you this is a long-term short trend. Isn't that beautiful? Even when it moves up like that, you got that yellow line and you got all your stuff going down there. Okay. Well, let's play, and now let's do this. I haven't saved this as a template yet. Yeah, I've got another copy. So let's do this. Let's change this to a 4-hour chart. Okay, and I want to show you something exciting. Somebody's been asking about the higher time frame, so we're going to remove a bunch of these objects here. So we can have some clean room to study the 4-hour chart. The 30-minute and the 4-hour charts are really my favorites, but you can make maxo pippies in the shortest period of time on that 5-minute chart, and you won't get a headache while you're doing it either. Okay. Now, okay, this is the 4-hour chart, and it's hard, and I told somebody this today. It is absolutely difficult. You have to work at it to being stupid, to make bad moves, to lose money on the 4-hour chart. If you follow the rules and don't try to fudge them and don't try to get in early and to get that extra 13 pips or whatever it is almost impossible to lose money on the 4-hour chart. Now let's go back here a ways. Let's go back to as far as the Max Vinny takes us. I'm going to rename that, but right now it's Max Vinny. Because see, every one of these little peaks and valleys is lots of money in the 4-hour chart. Okay, the Max Vinny starts right here, okay, at that bottom. Okay, so you had an exit here where whatever you were doing there, you had a signal for an exit there. Did you not? Whoops. Did you not? You had this going up. You had this crossed here, dipped down there, and you had this dipped below the 60 line. So that's telling you that that's going to go up. But we're still doing the safe trading. We're not trying to do the counter trends and stuff like that at this point. But with this system, you can pick every counter trend movement. You can absolutely pick it to the pair, to the tick, or to the bar. You see that's poked through the crabgrass. You got an inside bar. You got doji-like stuff. Price crossed the EMA, and look what you got. You got all of these things down here agreeing with you. So let's just drop it down there someplace. It doesn't have to be exact. But you see, you got an absolutely perfect reason to enter that trade. The only difference is you got bigger stops, but that takes you right up to home base. 263 pips. You also could make a little better scale in here, and a scale in here. But look at the purpose of this is you got your crabgrass, so you got your basic counter trend signal. While it's an exit signal going this way, it's a counter trend signal going that way. And this told you, as it was going down, that it was probably going to go on down. This told you that it was probably going to go on down. Look how smooth and straight it is. And this was telling you that it was going to go on down. Now, you can't have much stronger chili than that. And look, price stayed right under that thing until it kind of hung around there. And look at your trend. Look at how the non-lag moving average becomes your trend line. Goes right along home base here, and then it goes through there. And I don't like the way that Mo is situated because I don't like that elongated bar, especially on the 4-hour chart. And then you ride through this business. But look, this is going on up. This is telling you it's going to be up there for a while. But you really don't have any good entrance place unless you enter here on a pullback about right there. And even if the thing didn't go anywhere, you're going to get out right there, and that's still 80 pips on the 4-hour chart. So you got to get your adjustment, visual adjustment there. But if it just goes along here and plays, your entry is right there. Your Mo is right there, somewhere in that neighborhood. And with all this stuff backing you up down here, you can take that Mo a little bar or two early because it's a combination of other things besides just the Mo. So let's draw your line right there. Dip, 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 straight up. Coming off here, look at your angle, separation. Look how flat this line is above the 60 down here. Then this tells you we're going to have a little dip here. See, there's you've got your little, you had your cross here. That tells you when it drops under there and it agrees with this, what would you do? Well, good thing to be in. You could XXX and ride this down there, and then you could get a remo. And then you go on up here, and let me drop a vertical line so you can see where everything is. Look at that. I didn't look before I dropped the line. I just picked the highest bar. And this is above the 60. It's flat there. Now, I want to show you something else. On the 4-hour chart, we're going to have what is known as a primo. It's a new term I've invented. We got primos, we got Mo's, and we got remos. Now this is a primo. Price drops under the non-lag moving average. You've got this spaghetti here, so we're going to take a primo right there. When price comes down below that ledge, you can enter right there, and then that becomes a Mo, and as long as price doesn't go against you, you can stay in it until it goes against you, which would be right there, where it comes back inside. That's a primo with a Mo. Now, you don't have to remember that term, but see, that's only 295 pips in one fell swoop. And you had very little risk. I mean, you're going to have risk in the very first, when you first enter it, but because your stop's going to be somewhere about right there. But it drops so fast that it's not much danger. You would have a stop here of probably 110 pips. But look at the rewards. You got a reward of about 3 to 1. Price bounces up and goes back and still comes into spaghetti, so you don't do anything here. You don't wait. You don't try to trade in this stuff here because you've got these things all globbled up here. And here you would have not much of an opportunity to trade on the 4-hour chart because there's no point in it. You get a good situation. I will teach you how to trade this stuff. Now comes down, this makes a pretty straight line down there, doesn't it? Wait till things smooth out and you get them to your liking. You got this down here below the 60, you got this going flat, and you got this going up, and you got this going up on that side. So you could take it and ride it all the way up. At least you might want to get Frady Cat right there and get out, but if you rode it up to home base, it would be 215 pips. So there's lots of opportunities with that, and I just wanted to show you this, but that's not what your homework's about. Your homework's going to be about the 5-minute chart. And M's and W's, and if you want to make this thing go back a little further than 14 bars, what you can do, you can click on it here. You can go inside in inputs and then change that from 1440 to 2500. Now, it'll go way back to probably January the 1st or earlier. I'm getting some nice signals here. Yeah, it goes further back. Now, of course, the further back you go, the more resources you're using in your computer, but I think it's going to take it back close to the 1st of January. But I think you do the exercises here and you follow that line. I think you're going to be looking in a mirror of what price is going to do, what price is doing with this. You can tell what it's going to do. You come off of that with that M right there, come off of that into that mo, go sideways. You can tell what it's doing. This thing is, when it's going sideways like that, and actually your first signal would be your W there from that, but you don't trade that stuff. But here is a beautiful trade forming right here. Just pick the highest point and drop your line and look what's going on down here. You've got this and this. You got this W or this M here, and you can go down when it comes off of that home base. There's your trade. You don't have to wait for it to cross the mo when it's coming off that strong that way. And then you've got, actually you would have been better off or just about as good to wait. So that's what I say. You can either pick them here and take a chance, or you can wait and hit a good one, and you ride it all the way down with a couple of at least 2 scale ends, and then you got this stuff down here, and this is always going to have. If we drop to the lowest point, look what's going to happen. Look what we're looking at down here. This is down here, and this is down here. So that's telling you with that W there, you got a little W there. That's telling you, hey, this is probably the place to get out of this little sucker. And even though that, so even in a small trade like this, I think you've already learned how many pips. Let's just assume that you did it here. That the first, that's 32, and you would have had an MX right there probably. So let's stay with the MX. You got maybe 10 or whatever you got. With the MX, you got 11. So, and then you got on the scale in there, you had a scale in right there, and you had a scale in right there. So let's see how many pippies in this. 21 twice is 42. And 11 twice is 22. It would be 64. And 20 and 11 is 75. And 32 is 110 pips in how long? 110 pips in 3.5 hours. No, less than 2 hours. I'm sorry. 22 bars. So with this stuff, this is going to give you greater ammunition. And here's one thing I did. I marked this, I changed that color to magenta. just so that the primary lines. God, boy, that is beautiful red. What did I do that? Whoa, magenta. Okay. Now I did that so your lines, you wouldn't have any trouble telling the green from the magenta line. The other two lines are gold, because that's where the money is. Now look at these railroad tracks here. Now, if you did get in here, and I can show you how to do that, I'm going to do that starting lesson 4. But let's look at the Fibonacci. What happens here when you get one like that and you see it and hit the bottom? Look where it bounces there at 61.8, and it bounces. There you got your resistance level at 50, and at 38.2 it bounces right there until it goes up, and that's about 78. I don't know what that would be, about 78.6 Fibonacci, probably just sitting right there on top of it. So there are ways to do that, but you're not ready for the Fibonacci time yet. Move with the old Fibbies. Okay, now questions. Let's have a few questions here. It's 9 o'clock. I won't keep you guys up all night. Let's take 3 or 4 questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. I'll put a clean chart up there, although this is the pound yen. Oh, the pound dollar. This is pound dollar. So, okay, is there a rule as to how far away from news to trade? I usually just stay away from news days, period. I want to make it be at least an hour on either side. I don't like news at all. I think people that do that are trying to steal a few pips from them, and the risks are not worth the problem. The fills are bad. I can give you all kinds of reasons. And if you'll recall, many of you have been around for a while. The news nobody's been trying to sell news trading systems for over a year now. Why is that? Because they found out that most of them didn't work. And I had a guy that was one of my friends in our Forex club here, was paying $300 a month for our news signals. Well, hell, if he's making 20, 30 pips on a deal, and he had to make 30 pips just to pay his bill. And he figured out, well, this can't be good. So news is it's kind of lost its luster. There are a few people out there that have successfully traded the news. They only trade maybe one day a week, and so I just don't think it's the way I'd like to make a living. Trade that one day and get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and hope something happens, and your movement of your chart is predicated on the news event. So anyway, I just find it's way too difficult and too complicated, and you got to get there at the right moment. And so if you get filled bad and then it whips back down on you, you've lost the other way. So I can just think all kinds of bad things. But I'd say a minimum of an hour on either side would be okay. Anything else? Now, it's just my opinion. That doesn't make it right. It's just not right for me. And I don't think as a maxer, why in the hell would you want to even, well, no, I'm sorry, your question didn't say you want to trade the news. Look how that trend line goes right along with that. You see, the non-lag moving average becomes your trend line. You don't have to draw certain of them unless they're real close in. Now, I can change this to 13 on the 5-minute chart, and actually it'll draw most of your little ledge lines. So, and you can see them very clearly. I just didn't know how much space we needed to give for the indicators to settle down. I would say at least 30 minutes to an hour. And I don't even trade on Friday mornings anyway, and lately here I've noticed that I've missed some really good trades. I think 2 weeks ago I did trade Friday morning and made about 180 pips in an hour and a half, something like that. Okay. Yes, everything will be sent out to you. What you do, remove all templates, remove all indicators, and I'm going to send you new indicators. What I'm going to do is send them to Chris, and then let Chris zip them up for you. And so that way, when you add everything to your chart, indicators one box and template there, and then you load the template, everything should pop up. I don't want any of this mess that we've had on this last thing about this doesn't work or whatever. Now let me show you. You see, on the diamonds, clear this up. Oh, criminally, what did I do that for? Okay, indicator left. You see here, this says Max MTF MACD in color alert. This says down here Max MT4, not one. I don't have it on here. But what you have to have the Max MTF MACD in color the same way this one is, because there's two sets of these. One of them's an old set, and I just got them on the computer. I had it on the chart, and I sent that thing out and sent you the other backup thing. So it was my mistake. But you guys have to use a little ingenuity, too, about figuring some of these things out. If the names don't match up, they're not going to match up, especially if they're interdependent, as those two MACDs are. And the Bollinger Bands are interdependent on the bands. They make a call that way. So anyway, I'm going to send you this stuff. You play with it. I actually don't think that these blue lines are needed. So I would simply go into colors and take that Dodger blue and make it none. Dodger blue and make it none. Although it's not interfering with anything, it is very similar in scope to the Bollinger Bands on the one that is nearest and touching, so you can leave it in there or not, but I'll make up a template. I'm not sure I'll be able to get it out tonight, but I'll do my best. I don't know how much later Chris, how much later are you going to be up tonight? Today, whenever. What time is it over there? Yo, Chris, I think he's gone.
Hello.
Hours.
Hi.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll send them to you. And you just accumulate them, and it'll be called Max 3 file, since this is Max 3.
Sure, it's
okay.
4 p.m. in the afternoon here.
Beg your pardon?
It's 4 p.m. Wednesday here.
4 p.m. Really?
Yep.
Golly, you're ahead of us by up to 11 hours. Okay, Kevin, did you chime in the 4-hour time frame? You can. Well, it's all the same template. It'll work on the 4-hour. It'll work on the 30 minutes. If you want to really make your life a lot easier, stay with the 30 minutes and the 4-hour. For some reason, I just don't like the 1-hour chart. I don't know what it is about it, but I just have an eerie feeling for it. So I like 30 minutes and 4 hours. And the daily chart's great. I had a guy write in today and ask me if my stuff worked on the daily charts, because he's been trading daily and he's got a job and if you want to make your life easy, you get in once a day on the daily stuff. And again, like the 4-hour, it's very difficult unless you just make a real stupid entry or something to lose money if you give it breathing room and keep your stop far enough away. Okay. Any other questions? What setting do you use on the non-lag moving average on the 4-hour chart? Exactly the same. I use it at, I've set it, normally it's comes set with 21, but if you change it to 13, it hugs it pretty tight. See, like this ledge there on the 5-minute chart, you see that makes your ledge for you. See, look at that, makes your ledge. So instead of drawing the little trend lines, all you have to do is just draw the little angle line where you're actually going to trade it. See, look at that, major ledge. So you can set it for 21 or 13. I'm not going to be fussy about that. Remember, what I'm showing you, once you have mastered the concept, all of this stuff will begin to make a whole lot of sense, and it'll fall into a picture like Picasso. You know, he saw a canvas, but he didn't see a canvas. He saw a picture of a woman or a whatever, you know. And right here, we can see a picture of price movements. And instead of using our Crayolas like when we were kids, we get to paint these pretty colors on charts. And look how much fun we can have especially when you're getting paid for it. Look at that pullback right there. And on the 13, this is on 13. So it tells you a lot. Boy, it's just an absolute perfect mow. You can't get a better mow than that. See? And even this is with you on that one, because it's the pullback, not the cross, as it would be over here. Because see, when price crosses the 21, it's almost always up here. But down here, it's pointy at you. And this is made a little pointy at you. So anyway, there's something for you to work with. Now, here's what I want. I want one long chart and one short chart. You can put them both in the same post, which would be easier on me and Chris and Eusebio or Wayne, whoever's grading them. And I try to grade them, and then Eusebio grades them, and that way between the two of us, you'll get a pretty good picture of what you're doing right or wrong. I'm not one to make a big fuss over a chart and say, hey, that's a great chart, you're on your way, or that chart looks fine, you're on your way. So I don't have to get real picky down and do things unless you're doing stuff really wrong. And I'm not one to be very patient when I see people doing things wrong that are covered on the video 14 times. Anything else? Valid anywhere? Are the lines in the bottom indie shifted? No, they do not shift. See, look at this. Run them. See, they stay within the confines of that indicator. It's not like the datum that I took off of there some time ago. It was a nice indicator, but you could never tell where you were necessarily. Those things stay right where they belong. Okay. And when it comes out of there and crosses that line and stays there, you get your same thing here, which is verifying what's going on here. So you got a lot better reading of what's going on now. Is there a rule for minimum movement between scale ends? Nah, there's just no point in scaling in. Well, let me look at one place here. There wouldn't be any point in scaling in both places there because you're taking the same risk. Scale in down here if you're going. If you're going up, you want to scale in right there between those two, or if you're going up here, you want to just take one of them. So I would say normally 3 or 4 or 5 bars would be your best situation. You don't want to take scale ins when they're all at the same price. What you want to do, this scale in would be here, this scale in would be here, and this one down here. You want to stagger them a bit. That's what I think. Now, once you get out there, you can take every one of those things if you want to, but greed will kill you because one of these days you're going to get a spike that's going to go all the way back here. It's going to wipe everything you've done out, and there's nothing anybody on earth can do about that to predict it or prevent it. So we like to take an MX or 2, 3 at the most. If you're in a real long situation like this, see, you don't need too many scale ins here unless you get them at the top. You want to get them at the top where you can when you've got an angle like that. Okay, any more? I will illustrate before the end of the training, Eusebio. Oh, okay. I didn't hear what the question was. Personally, I use a risk control procedure. Oh, great. Yeah. Maybe you can teach me something, boss. Todd, how long have you been trading this type of method? I've been trading the max as pretty much as I'm printing it here about a year and a half, no, 2 years now. I've experimented with it the year before, and it was part of what I'm doing here was my trading method, and it was a hit or miss deal. And then Kathy Lean, I read her book 2 and a half years ago, and that's where I got the idea for the momentum line. Like I say, it's nothing original. She's a brilliant trader. She writes good stuff, and I made some changes in what she wrote because I didn't like the way she was doing it. Of course, she only has those 2 lines on the chart, and she uses the momentum line in conjunction with a regular 12, 26, and 9 MACD. And that's fine. But the way I'm doing it, mine is much more predictable and much more consistent than what I got out of her book. But the idea gelled in my head for a few months. So, and I read another book called Smashing Forex that had a similar thing, and I put those things in my head, and they just got all jumbled up, and boy, I got this beautiful trading program. About a year and a half, or a little more, 2 years, year and a half to 2 years. But my trading just doubled and tripled overnight when I got the scale-in idea with the momentum stuff. Okay, sounds like birth control. Well, it just about was. At my age, I was getting not discouraged. I love trading, and I love the gamble of it, and I love the excitement of it. But you know, the measure of what we do is pips and money. Doesn't have to be a lot of money. I've got ladies that are trading penny pips, and they're having the time of their life. Wayne Boss's wife, He's teaching her to trade, and she's beating him to death. So if you got a lady that's high maintenance, teach her to trade the Forex and let her buy her own fur coat or Mercedes or whatever. Okay, what else? I was chuckling at Eusebius' risk control procedure. Well, you all know my risk control procedure. That's the best entry is risk control. There's safe entries, and I call them safe mows and perfect mows. There's a safe mow and a perfect mow. Now they're not necessarily the same, but a safe mow is a good mow. Perfect mow, they come up in almost every long-term trend trade. Like this is a nice mow, but it's not a perfect mow. Let's see what we got here. Well, we have to go back here to this. See, this is a nice mow, but there's the perfect mow. You see, this is the perfect mow right there. Cross, up, that's a mow right there. And this is safe and perfect. And this is whoops. Now see, I'm sorry. I lied, excuse me. This is okay. It's a mow, but it's really not a mow because it crossed all three of those. It makes it a mow, but it's not a good mow. And you'll get a lot of those head fakes that will beat you to death if you try to trade stuff like this. And this one will rarely not make you money. If nothing else, if you get out right there at that first place, worst you're going to bank is probably about 60 pips. Let's look. Worst you can depend on that thing for is about 50 pips. And you bank that, and look what you got to look forward to up here. Okay. Perfect mows and mows. I think I've about had any more questions. It seems like the magenta and gold lines cross frequently after price has already changed direction. Well, that's true, yes. No, it's before. Wait a minute, let's clear that up. Since you haven't played with it, you see this crosses before price goes down. This is your early warning. This is warning you before price crosses. You see that cross there? It actually didn't start going down here, so you had 2 or 3 bars warning. Can you imagine what you can do with this on the 30-minute chart or the hourly chart? Look at this one. Look at this little place right there. Let's hit that high bar. That pin bar is telling you it's going to go down, and it's a doji at the same doji pin bar. Look here, you got your cross right there. So that's 1 bar before it actually happens. And this cross here, now it's not such a big deal, but you see you got a cross right here. There's your cross, but it didn't really go down until about right there. So it's an early warning. Look at this one. Here we go. Here's a perfect example. Right there. See, it didn't go down for about 3 bars. It's the other way around. The obos is the later, after prices already moved or about the same time, but your Stoke RSI, SRO, is an early warning system by a couple of bars. And if you're looking at an M, that makes it even stronger signal. See? Okay, does that clear that up? You can buy Kathy Lean's book from a place called Trading Resources for about, it's a discount bookstore. I think it costs you about $15. She's got about 8 or 10 trading setups in the book, and the only one that I liked was the momentum, and of course I didn't like it the way it was, but it gave me such a great idea, and I worked on it for 5 or 6 months till I perfected it the way I like it. So she's a great gal, though. And Dean Malone with Synergy is a great trader, but he's trading an hourly chart, so his stuff is different, and I don't think watching him trade on the hourly chart would teach many of you very much, but if you want to get up at 2 o'clock, you can get a $1 membership to his deal. Okay, I have a permanent membership to it, and I never go there because I don't get up at 2 o'clock in the morning most of the time. I'll be doing my own trading. John Lean, L-I-E-N, high probability trading setups. Yeah, Your perfect mows like that are they're just so rarely that they lose. If you did nothing but wait for those things, there's 10 of them every day. At least 10. There's 20 mows, but there's at least 10 perfect mows. All you got to do is just sit there and turn your bingers on. I'm going to show you some signal things later that you wonder why you ever question, am I going to give you some indicators? We got an indicator that will tell you when price is going to cross the yellow line. We got an indicator to tell you when crosses home base. We got an indicator that gives you a verification of everything else you've done. It comes in about right here after the thing there. We got all of these things. We got Bluetooth Marauder, which is the Max Marauder with the modifications we made, and we have all of that stuff. So you're wasting your time at this point if you paid for Max and then you're out there looking for other stuff. Even the graduates, I don't understand that. But hey, I'm not the boss. I'm just a mentor. And you see how that crosses down there and makes your ledge for you. As the training goes along, it's going to be a lot easier. I have to make it difficult in the beginning so you'll buy the concept. You've got to get the concept and the system in your mind and wrap your mind around it so we can put all this good stuff with it for you. My God, we've gone another 30 minutes. What else? Do we strictly have to use diamonds for scale lens? Well, hell no. Use anything you want. But the diamonds are the best thing out there. You're not going to find anything else unless you the diamonds tied in with the indicators below. If this is an up trade, tied in with everything else. This is going up. This is going up. It's already at the top. That's good because it's telling you that that's an uptrend. You got this flattened out oboe, so you use whatever you want. But there isn't anything out there like the diamonds. I promise you, there's nothing out there like it. But go ahead. Okay, actually own the book. Oh, okay, John. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I don't have the website handy here, but I will send it to you. It's called Traders Resources, and he gives you a 10 or 15% discount if you're a member of the Max. I don't get anything from it, but I've sold a lot of these. He sells all kinds of Forex trading systems and books and stuff like that, but they're discounted anywhere from 30 to 70% before you buy them there, and then you get another 10% or so discount on whatever the price is. So you want to order that Kathy Lean book. The other one is named Smashing Forex, and it's a daily system, but I converted it to my own thing with the momentum thing and turned it into a better system to generate lots of pips. They were interested in making 50 to 100 pips a trade, and I just knew that there had to be a better way to do more. Otherwise, it wouldn't. I want to go play in somebody else's ballpark. When does your book come out? Oh, God. Well, Slim's been working on it. I've worked on it, and I've got a reference manual that for the training, for the training. It's not a training manual. It's a reference manual to refer, and I've been working on that because every time you make a change in the indicator or whatever it is, I have to change the reference manual, and Chris helps on that. And here's the other thing. Down below here, we can put all kinds of indicators. These are merely verifiers. All your action is right there. You could trade with just that. You haven't even seen my tiger tunnels, and that's going to show you. Well, it's just going to be something. You'll get those, not next week, maybe in, let's see, what's this session 3? 4 is Saturday, 5 is Tuesday, probably next Tuesday, two sessions from now, you'll get the tiger tunnels. And that is an idea I got from a guy named Vegas who has his Vegas channels, and I changed them and made them fit with this thing. I didn't force them. I mean, they just absolutely fit naturally. They're called tiger tunnels, and you'll see those and a few other things. We've got 8 or 10 indicators that would fit in here depending on your preference. Okay. Can you go to where your chart is live right now, meaning current price, and would you have taken the trade after the long candle? Well, I can almost tell you no. Where's the long candle? This is the pound yen. I mean the pound dollar. Which one are you talking about? This one? The red long candle there? Of course, I don't like trading this time of night. Now, we're into the Asian session, but I just don't like the trading this time of night. The market is too fidgety. You see what this is doing here? Is that, no, the long blue candle. Where's the long, this one? There? No. Way too far away from this. Price hasn't gone through the 233 to take an up trade there. Is that what you're talking about, Vince? Were you talking about this entry that would have been right there? Right there after that long blue candle? Back further. Here? Well, can you tell me how many bars? 46, 12, 9, whatever, like there? Chances are not, because it's too close to home base. Like I say, I don't like trading this time of evening. Okay. That was a mo. It would have been all right, but it's not. See, you still got, stuff is still called spaghetti here, and that's not really a trade. I know, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have taken it. I answered that too quick. Now, there's no point in taking. See, there's no point in trading stuff like that. Absolutely no point. When you got stuff like this, when you got stuff like that, and you got stuff like this, why would you think about taking something like that? In spaghetti, garbage. That's why most traders lose. Oh, well, that's about the right size of bar that I don't like. I'll tell you that. That question is answered. I've answered that. No, anytime you get a bar elongated like that, I want to see what's going on. And by the time, if you get two long bars in a row like that, there's no way I'd enter it. Even if it were a mo and this went spaghetti, I wouldn't enter it there until after a pullback, which would be right there. If I had been going to enter a long trade, it would have been after that thing right there, or after that ledge, probably right there, which is not a trade because it's in home base. Now, there was a trade coming off of there right there, if you don't mind trading this time of night. See? Even though it's, actually, that should have been a bounce. I mean, I'm sorry, that is not a trade. Because the shift of the EMAs would have to be totally reversed there to make that a trade, unless it were a long trade. And it's not a good place for a long trade because it's bumped up right against home base. Could you just scroll back to 601? 601, you mean January the 6th? I'm seeing false M's, shorts. On January the 6th? Well, just for you, Nihal. Nihal, however you pronounce it. Just show me which bar. Okay. This is January the 6th at 11:15. Right there. What? Give me a clue. Give me a time frame. You're seeing false M's? Where do you get a false M? There's an M and there's an M. See, there's M's joined together. I would say that I don't see anything false about those. Look at that. You're right. You're coming right into the top, the peak of that move for those M's right there. There's your W. I don't see how you... Okay, Steve, thanks for... That's the way I spell my son's name, S-T-E-P-A-T-N. At what time, Nihal? Give me some clue. 5 minutes, January the 6th. Scroll to the right on the big up. Right there? 15:30. That'd be on back over here. Right there. That's the 5th. Here, that one, that's 9, 55, 15. Yeah, this is about it right there. Okay, now show me. Here's some M's. You got an elongated M and you got a small M right there. You got a long M right there, which is this little dip there. Like I said, but with this up there, that's telling you that this is going to be, that's going to stay up there for a while. You don't trade everything is not a signal. It may be a sign to look for something. But see, look where that M popped in there. And you're also at a peak point. We got a doji. You got this at the top coming down a bit. This is going against it, but the point is this tells you this is probably just a pullback. This tells you down here that those are just pullbacks. This M right here is just in this trash in there. So let's see what this W is perfect at the point where it is, telling you that this is going to go up right there. Now you're going to have to watch the video several times to get this in your mind straight. That's all I can tell you. See this bounce down below the 60 there, even though that's a funny looking W, it's still a W. Cross it up there tells you that's going up. To look for it, and then you've got this trend line. It's not divergence by any means, but it's a trend going up with corresponding to that. Now let's see if we can spot some divergence here from that point. Nope, no divergence. Had a little right there. Okay, hey, you guys got to get out of here. I got things to do. Anyway, you're going to play with your M's and W's. I want you to do a scroll back. This is for your own exercise. Then I want you to send me 2 charts with the M's and W's marked, the scale ends marked, the Mo's marked, etc. And I'll just see how you do. Now I'll get this thing out. It's 9:30. I'll get it out probably by 10:30. In another hour, I'll have to make up a package for you to do that with. Okay. Next class is Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock Central Standard Time, 3 o'clock Eastern. Okay. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. Okay, and you guys are welcome. You are the reason I'm here, to help you guys, and hope you feel like you're getting your money's worth. So have a good night. I didn't see Cynthia in there tonight, or Lynn, her mother. So, and Angela, there you are, darling. How are you? Some later stage, will you move the chart 1 candle at a time so we can see the trade developing? Sure. Probably next session. I want you to work it. You guys can do some F12s. I haven't played with that simulator yet. I've been working on other things. So I haven't got to that. But one night when we're doing this, I will. Maybe Saturday I can go through and go through in some trades, and you can see them form up. Okie dokie. See ya. I'm out of here. Good night. Okay, Chris, thanks, and Craig. Thanks a million. I'll talk to you tomorrow, Craig, or send you an email about that St. Jude's thing. Okay, that's it for me tonight, guys.